Bitcoin is only a few $100s away from pulling off the biggest bullish signal in Bitcoin history. Make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, make sure you share, because we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more in this video. Okay, before we get into all that, let's just take a quick look at the cards. Let's see the overall sentiment of Bitcoin. As you can see right here at the bottom of the screen, let's take a look at the 24-hour, 7-day, 30-day, and the hour cards on Bitcoin. As you can see, in the last 24 hours, Bitcoin is up 2.98%. In the last 7 days, Bitcoin is up 7.76%. In the last 30 days, Bitcoin is up over 30%. In the last year, Bitcoin is up right now over a whopping 50%. So if you had made investments within the last 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days, or the last year, you will be up on your investment and have a pretty decent return. So let's take a look. Let's go back to the charts. So what I was talking about earlier in this video, how Bitcoin is on the precipice of pulling off the biggest bullish signal in Bitcoin history. You have to take at this red down. You have to take a look at this red downward sloping resistance line, right? As you can see, this downward sloping resistance line, look at the bottom for the dates. This downward sloping resistance line started back in December, right, of 2017, and it's lasted all the way up to present time. So that's the longest downtrend in Bitcoin history, and today we are on the brink of breaking this downward sloping resistance. This is an historic moment for Bitcoin if we can pull this off. And what I mean by resistance, as you can see, back in 2017, Bitcoin attempted to Bitcoin created its all-time high around about $20,000 if you look over to the right. Bitcoin created its all-time high of around $20,000, and ever since that moment, Bitcoin has been on decline. So as you can see, we had this huge sell-off all the way down to about $3,000 again, looking over to the right. We had a huge sell-off from 20K all the way down to $3,000. And then each time price action rose up to this downward sloping resistance line, we failed to break out of it and close above it. As you can see here, we had a few attempts to break out of this downward sloping resistance line. As you can see, we rallied again, but didn't quite make it. And then we had another sell-off to about 6,500. As looking over here to the right again, we had a sell-off to about 6,500, and then we rallied again and failed to break it here at about 10,005, and we sold off again to retest that 3K range, and then we rallied again, and this is present day. So Bitcoin is attempting to break out of this again, and we're only a few $100s away. This could be huge. This could be historic. And if you took a look at my last video, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart so we can take a look at why I remain bullish on Bitcoin. Okay, so what you see before you is the 4-hour chart on Bitcoin. And if you watched my last video, I talked about how we were ready to make a great move on Bitcoin, and we did. I talked about us breaking this $9,100 resistance area. Again, looking over to the right at the prices, the bottom of this zone here, you see a red outlined in green. The bottom marks that $9,100 area. We broke the $9,100 area, and we tested this 4K area here, as I talked about in my previous video. But today we've broken out of that 94K resistance, right? I talked about this 9,400 again, looking over to the right at the price. We broke out of that 94K area of resistance that I talked about. Back in my last video, we were fighting to break it, and we had a sell-off, a little sell-off. And then now, present tense, we are trading above it, retesting this 2-year-long downward sloping resistance. And the reason why I remain bullish on Bitcoin, against all of the spectators and speculators out here in social media and in the crypto space, is because of we kept creating what is called higher lows, pardon me. As you can see, Bitcoin ever since here way back in this is April, let's go April 15th, Bitcoin has been consecutively creating higher lows. And what a higher low is, as you can see, this low point here, right? And this low point, where this low point is higher than this low. And this low here is higher than its previous low. And this low here is higher than its previous low. So Bitcoin kept creating higher lows. And that's why I remain bullish on Bitcoin. While other traders, right, that's supposed to be, OGs in this crypto space, which I am myself, they were calling for a double top. And what a double top is you can see when Bitcoin made this local high here, right? We came all the way up and we made another local high here that was pretty much equal, right? Equal to this last high. So that's called a double top. And what the sentiment was around Bitcoin at that time was that we was going to have a huge sell-off retesting previous lows. But I remain bullish because we kept making lower highs. And I stressed over again that if we kept trading, if we could break this $9,100 area and continue to trade in that range, that Bitcoin could be retesting this 2-year-long downward sloping resistance. And also, I'm gonna switch back over to the daily for one quick second, then I'm gonna let you go. I don't wanna hold you too long. So let's switch back over to the daily. Let's reset this price scale. Okay, so what I want you to take a look at, right? I'm gonna move this trend line and I'm gonna add another one. And what I want you to take a look at is what's known as divergence. Bitcoin has bullish divergence on the daily chart. And I'm gonna explain what that means and then I'm gonna let you all go. And I just want you to take this information in and be safe if you're thinking about buying Bitcoin because it's highly volatile. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can get wrecked in this market. So that's why I offer cryptocurrency consultations and mentorships. You can email me at klewiss198724@gmail.com if you would like to take me up on my mentorship and my consultation so you can be safe when you're out here in this cryptocurrency world. And you can also DM me on Facebook at Keenan Lewis, on Instagram at Crypto and Travel, and also on YouTube at Crypto and Travel. You can comment on one of my videos and let me know you're interested in the mentorship and consultation and we can get it on and popping. But anyway, this is bullish divergence on Bitcoin. So if we take a look at this price range here to here on the chart, on the price action, right? Look at what Bitcoin did. It created, right, a lower high. You see this high here is lower than its previous high. But let's take a look at the RSI. The RSI is the relative strength index and it charts momentum basically. It lets you know the momentum of price action with Bitcoin. So let's take a look at the RSI. So here on the RSI, what we have did in contrast to the price action on the chart is we made a higher high. You see this high here is higher than this previous high. So when you have a lower high on the chart and a higher high on the RSI, that's known as bullish divergence. So that all that means that it tells you that this move to the downside on the chart could be getting weaker and that price could be breaking above this area here and going upward. So that's what we have on the RSI. And that's another reason why I am remaining bullish on Bitcoin right now. But another thing to note about the RSI is that when we break above 70, right? You see this 70 area marked on the RSI? We are known as overbought, right? And when Bitcoin and other assets become overbought, you can look for a correction. As you can see here, when we rose all the way up to about the 87, 89, 90 range on the RSI, we had sell-offs. So Bitcoin still has a long way to go before we reach these last previous highs on the RSI. So we still have room to the upside when we talk about price action. Okay, so there's one more chart I want you to look at before I let you go. This is the weekly chart, right? As you can see up here at the top left. So what I wanted to show you was that here on the weekly chart, again, the longer time frames, the more confirmation of the move, right? So here on the weekly chart, if you follow my videos, I use the 13-day EMA and the 34-day EMA moving averages to show me bullish and bearish sentiment. And as you can see here on the weekly chart, the 13-day EMA exponential moving average is attempting to cross the 34-day. That is a very bullish signal in Bitcoin. As you can see here, the last time that this happened was back in, again, May. The date is at the bottom. The last time that this happened was about a year ago. Was about a year ago to the day. Today is the May the 7th, 2020, and the last time we got this cross was on May 6th of 2019. And as you can see, once we got this cross, you can see price action had a significant increase. As a matter of fact, let's chart that increase. So that way we can do like predictive measures. We're not trying to predict the future. When you chart and use technical analysis, you're just trying to figure out the best time to buy and sell, not to predict the future. So taking a look at the past, the last time that we got a cross of the 13 and 34, right? This equaled a 178% increase in price, right? So we are on the verge of getting that same type of cross. And so what I like to do here is just clone this move and measure this measured move. I like to clone it and apply it to the next potential breakout. So as I clone this move and put it here on this breakout, if this plays out, right? Let me so you can see. Come here. So if this plays out, we could potentially be looking at that's 110. Let's do it to 177. The same. So that's about right. So we could be looking at over a $20,000 Bitcoin. That would be a new all-time high. So I'm just going off the past. So not saying that that's going to happen. I just want to get you an idea of what could be taking place if we get this bullish cross on this 13 and 34 day moving average. And as you can see, this would be the second time in Bitcoin history that we got this cross, if it happens now in present tense, and we are threatening to break. Just let's take this all in, right? We have bullish divergence on the daily chart, which I showed you. On the weekly, which is a longer time frame, we have a bullish cross on the 13 and 34 setting up, right? And we're also, as I mentioned, testing a break out of this 2-year-long downsloping resistance. So you have a lot of bullish indicators going on simultaneously at the same time. And we like to find, when you trade, it's called areas of confluence, right? And one more thing, here on the MACD, which is another momentum indicator, we have a bullish cross in oversold conditions. What this means is that buyers are taking over the market once again. So, and then take note of this volume. Look at all this volume here, right? That's a pretty sustainable amount of volume on the weekly candle. And you can see in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, the last 2 months, we've been creating, higher lows. And we also have this bullish cross on the MACD that's very bullish. Buyers are taking over the market. And we also have positive momentum. So once momentum breaks this you see this previous high of positive momentum, we're looking to break above that and keep going up. So we got the bullish cross on the MACD. We're attempting the bullish cross on the weekly. And so you have a lot of bullish indicators that's going on. And so now what I want you to take this final look to tie it all together, I like to use what's called Fibonacci retracement. Before I click on that, there we go. Before I click on that, I thought I was going to reset the whole chart. Before I click on the Fibonacci retracement, I want to get everything centered so I can draw this swing high to swing low. Now let's make this big so you can see the importance of what I'm saying here. So this is the Fibonacci retracement from Bitcoin's all-time high to its last low of around that 3K range, right? Looking over to the right, that's where you see the price. So Bitcoin now is also, right? You have the bullish cross on the weekly. You have the bullish cross in oversold conditions on the MACD. You have bullish divergence on the daily, right? And now you have Bitcoin entering into the golden zone, right? And the golden zone is this 38.2% retrace. Anytime that Bitcoin enters into the golden zone, that's where price action typically reverses. And the Fibonacci retracement is tracing the move from all the way from the all-time high to down to the low, and now it's retracing the move back up. And when Bitcoin enters the golden zone, that's where we typically see price action that's where we see price action reverse and continue up to the downside. Bitcoin loves the golden zone. And look here what we have in the weekly. Bitcoin has poked its nose into the golden zone. So I'm going to be looking for a close above this 9,400 area today. And as long as we get this a close above this 9,400 area today, that's my buy signal. So I have a buy at 94. I'm going to place a buy order at 9,400. If we can get a close above, see at 94.03, I'm going to place a buy order if we can get a close above this $9,400 area on the daily, because we are now in the golden zone. And if I move this trend line, right? So now I moved that trend line earlier. So if I place this trend line back appropriately, right? On the weekly, we do bodies. We place the trend on the body of the candle. So there you have it. Let's remove this one where we were talking about divergence earlier. So now you have Bitcoin. See, as I mentioned earlier, you like to find areas of confluence. So you have Bitcoin poking his nose above this 2-year-long downward sloping resistance and poking his nose into the golden retrace zone, along with all these other bullish indicators. So I just wanted to make this video and to educate all of my followers who's interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency about what was going on in this space. I hope you found value in this video. So always like, subscribe, reach out to me by commenting and share this video if you think this video added value to your life. Peace. I'm out. Again, you can always hit me up at klews198724@gmail.com for mentorship and consultation. And if you're joining those multi-level marketing companies, which is there's nothing wrong with, as long as they're not, the form of definition of pyramid schemes. So if you're joining those IMLs and those Traderos and the people that are bringing you into those type of companies aren't breaking down charts to you, find you another source of your information, save your money, come to someone more trustworthy like myself, and that way you can acquire knowledge in this whole trading sector before spending a ton of money into joining a company, and that will be taking away your capital for investing. So peace to you all. Stay safe out here in this pandemic, and I hope to see you all on the other side of this pandemic, enjoying life on the beaches around the world. So you all have a blessed day. And remember, reach out to me, KLEWIS198724 @gmail.com. You all have a good one. I'm out.